because her daddy was a police officer, I guess he made her tell on everything that was going on, right? So she ended up telling, and they bust a couple more people, right? So now the trap hot, fool. You feel me? So now we in the trap, cause we on the run. The chicks that we was dealing with just told on everybody. We don't know if we next. You know what I'm saying? You know everybody. You know my whole family.
The whole team.
Yeah.
100.
100.
Double salute. Wildlife 100.
Wildlife 100.
I've been in the trap every day, I don't get much sleep.
Wildlife 100.
Something so real, so real, you can feel it in your knees. I need something like you, do you need someone like me?
What's moving, everybody? Hey, man, you already know what's going on, man. I'm back again, man. Part 5 of The Day I Robbed the Plug, man. Straight up. If y'all been watching this series, man, shout out to everybody who been watching. Shout out to everybody who's been watching. My best friend sent me to jail for the Unthinkable series. You know, everything had done connected at this point, so you gotta watch that to watch this. You gotta watch this to watch that, you know? So, hey, man, appreciate everybody who been locked in. Now, we on the run, baby. You know what I'm saying? Hey, listen, we done finally made it to the story where we on the run, bro. Like, we pretty much fugitives of the, not pretty much, we fugitives of the law, and we don't even necessarily know it. Now, on part 4, if y'all remember, that part led up to now where we done made a certain decisions that basically changed our life forever. In this entire series, we done end up robbing the plug, end up becoming the men in our hood, me and my brother Chop, obtaining the trap, fighting, having women, having parties, you know, all of this stuff, right? Which led to feeling like this was our hood as far as on the east side. You know, I mean, that's where I'm from, you know, so I already felt like that was my hood anyway. But, you know, having money and having the trap and all this stuff like that and having all the women and stuff, it made me feel like this was more so my hood than ever, you know? So that's what led us to ended up robbing the guy who we ended up robbing that put us in jail, you know? Well, that my partner snitched on us by putting us in jail. So now we up into that point where we ended up robbing Buddy. Now we on the run. We on the run because unbeknown of us, everybody ended up telling on us. My little backdoor chick, she ended up telling eventually. My skinny best friend, he ended up telling eventually. He ended up telling royally. I'm a put a picture right here too, so y'all can see the red Camaro. Y'all can see Big Boy, Vontae, my brother Tez, and my brother Chop. You feel me? So y'all know what's up. You feel what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean? I hope I depicted the story well. But now we at the point where everybody is telling on us. Vontae told royally. We on the run and we don't even know it. From my knowledge, after reading the paperwork, after getting locked up and stuff like that, I found out this is why Vontae and Big Boy kind of stayed away from us. You know, cause this whole time while we're on the run, they ain't nowhere to be found. Remember I told y'all I pulled up at his baseball games because they wasn't pulling up on us no more. They start just doing little weird stuff. You know, my brother, he ended up getting robbed from somebody that Vontae knew. You know, things just started getting weird. You know, it was like these folk really just didn't care about our relationship no more, or didn't care how cool we were or anything like that. It was like they just flipped on me. First of all, after we committed the robbery, we already knew it was messy. You know, it was a messy situation, bro. Like, the vibe was off from beginning to the end. Maybe a couple days later after we committed the robbery, my backdoor chick, she called me from jail like I told y'all. She called me from jail. Well, her family called me from jail, and, you know, they telling me what's going on and I need to help her and things like that. So this was the beginning of the end. Unbeknownst to me, she ended up telling on my skinny best friend. My skinny best friend, maybe a day or two later, right after she got locked up, because she didn't want to stay in jail. You know, she a chick. You know, that's just how it be with women. They gonna crack. You feel me? So she ended up telling on cuz, and I could give her the benefit of the doubt for not telling on me at the beginning, like I've been telling y'all. But she told on my skinny best friend Vontae. They ended up calling Vontae. They ain't even pick him up from the house, bro. They called him and said, "Hey, can you come down to the station? We want to question you about this incident." Shouty came down to the station, and I think he went down there with his mama, and he just sang, fool. Then Boy, that boy sang like Brian McKnight, fool. That boy sang like Usher in the 90s. That boy sang, boy. That boy sang like a hummingbird on everything. He just was singing. You feel me? He ain't care about what tune he was making. He ain't care about nothing. He ain't care the octave. He just sang straight up. We didn't know that it had gotten that deep. My backdoor chick, you know, she locked up. I'm trying to figure out how I could get her out because her bail was like 50,000. I think it was like 50,000 cash. She didn't stand there long. She ended up getting out maybe a couple days after she told on Vontae, right? And I should have known something was wrong then, cause she was supposed to stay away from me, right? She would call me every now and then, but she wouldn't never pull up on me. Matter of fact, she did pull up on me. Damn, that's crazy. It just hit me, right? When she got out of jail, she ended up getting out of jail maybe 2 or 3 days after Vontae supposedly told, right? So when she got out, the first person she pulled up on after she pulled up on her family and all that, she pulled up on me. She called me and she said, "Hey, I could, pull up on you," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's cool." She was like, cause her and her mama, they used to beef and stuff like that. She gave me an excuse as far as they was beefing. I'm like, "Who you pulling up with though? Like who dropping you off? How you getting here?" And she was real secretive about how she was getting there, but she ended up telling me like some dude that she talked to or something like that, right? She pulled up and knocked on my door. I was looking outside the window, because I told her, I'm like, let me know when you close and all that. She was even being sneaky about that, right? She pulled up and a charger. All I could see was a charger leaving the apartment, right? But I'm not knowing if she got out that charger. I'm not knowing if these folk just moved in, and if y'all been watching this series, then y'all know this just so happened to be the same charger that I peeked in before I got caught. Before I went to go get my car fixed, and I went to Candler Road to go to AutoZone. Remember I told y'all I peeked into this charger. It was like this flip-flop charger, it was like a dope boy's charger or something. It had rims on it and everything, but it was tinted out, right? I peeked in it, and I didn't know anybody was in the car. But when I peeked in it, they start ducking down like this, right? So this was the day I got caught for this charge, right? But when she pulled up on me, this was days before. This same charger looked like it was dropping her off. I caught it too late to see if she got out the charger. I just seen it pass as she was walking to my door. So I opened the door. She came upstairs and we chopping it up, and she didn't even want to stay long. It was like she came over and she was just saying and doing weird stuff. This was so crazy, fool. Like, you really can't trust nobody. She didn't really want to stay long, and I noticed she asked me my name, like my full name. I'm like, bro, you know my name, fool. Like, you ain't gotta, what you asking me my name for? She said, yeah, but what's your full name, right? So, me trusting shawty, I ended up telling her my full name, because I'm like, what's she gonna do with my full name? Like, what can she possibly do with that? Me not knowing that, that name was going to be on the warrant. She ended up asking my brother too, but my brother was like, man, F you. He ain't really rock with her. He ain't really rock with too much of any of the people that I brought around that time period, because he felt like everybody was telling. I was still trying to give folk the benefit of the doubt. So after she got my name and after she got certain credentials, because I think she even asked for the exact address and all type of stuff, because she had to get here and she had to get back. You know what I'm saying? It was so devious now that I'm sitting here thinking, like, it's all coming back to me. It's crazy. After she got certain information, she said, all right, I'm going to see y'all later. You feel me? My ride just pulled up. So I'm like, all right, bet. She left. I ain't stunning. It was what it was. She ended up leaving, and that was the last time I seen her. Like I told y'all, we would talk on the phone every now and then, but she didn't really have too much conversation for me. She wasn't trying to pull up. She wasn't trying to be around me or anything like that. And I'm going to let y'all know why. Y'all should already know why at this point. Straight up. So, fast forward, right? We had a garage, right? We stayed in a townhome, and we had a garage that we would pull up and down, and he would smoke cigarettes in the garage or whatever tree that he had. And I ain't smoked for real back then, so I just used to kick it in the garage with him and just chop it up with him. One day we went out there, maybe a day after Shouty, my little backdoor chick, came to the house and got all my information. We went outside, and we're sitting in the garage, And as we're sitting in the garage, we talking and we just having this eerie feeling like everything just started getting dark, bro. Like as far as the way we felt, you know, everything just started getting dark. Like it's really, you can really feel when somebody's plotting on your downfall, or you can really feel when something or somebody is closing in on you. Like it just feels real dark. It just feels real heavy on you, you know. But like I told y'all, I didn't know what it was because I had done so much around this time leading up to this. Like I didn't know what karma was coming back, or if I just was feeling bad this day, or what the case was. I know now for sure. We sitting out in the garage and we see this same charger outside, right parallel to where we're sitting at in the garage. Like it's sitting right in front of our house, bro. We didn't know why it was sitting in front of our house, but you know we stayed in townhomes, so sometimes cars will park up and down this street because they don't have parking where they stay or something like that. You just gotta know townhomes. We kept looking at the charger and stuff, and my brother, he ended up pulling down the garage door and telling me like, bruh, something ain't right. You feel me? Like I'm like, yeah, I feel it too. I just don't know what it is, you know. But we just couldn't put our finger on it. So we put the garage down and we continued our conversation in the garage, just there. So we like, all right, hey, let's go to the trap. Let's just see what's going on in the trap. Let's go check the spot, stuff like that. So that's what we ended up doing. We ended up driving the Buick to the trap. Because remember I told y'all it wasn't too far from us. Maybe 10, 15 minutes or something like that. We ended up driving the Buick to the trap and we just checked the spot. You know, we just kicked it over there for a second. Even over there, it just didn't feel right, bro. And come to find out, when we got there, it was so quiet, bro. The hood just seemed like it was just so quiet. So I'm asking buddy that live in the trap that we just acquired. I'm like, hey, bro, what's been going on over here? Why it seems so dry? Come to find out, y'all remember my little ghetto chick, my little project chick that stayed out over there in the trap, and her daddy was a police officer. Come to find out, bro, she got caught up hanging with the wrong people and got in trouble. The police ended up swarming somebody else's trap spot over there. Remember I told y'all we was the only people over there selling tree, but it was folks over there that was selling harder stuff. We used to kick it in front of that trap like every other time that we went out there, or every time we went out there, we'll go and kick it in front of day trap like 30 minutes, maybe an hour or two, just because, you know, that was just part of the hood. You know what I'm saying? And his spot was bunking too. You feel me? So we'll get a lot of our plays coming in and out of his spot too. We ain't never go in. We just always kicked it on the outside. So they ended up, while we wasn't there, they ended up busting that spot. When they bust that spot, they caught my little ghetto chick, you know what I'm saying, and her sister. They ended up taking her into custody, but remember I told y'all her daddy was a police officer. Because her daddy was a police officer, I guess he made her tell on everything that was going on, right? So she ended up telling, and they bust a couple more people, right? So now the trap hot, fool. You feel me? So now we in the trap, cause we on the run. We don't even know we on the run, but we running from a feeling at my mama house, you know? Like we don't want to be over there at my mama house. We just feel something going on that we just can't explain. So we ended up going to the trap. When we get to the trap, it's another eerie feeling in the trap. You know, ain't nobody outside. We just found out these folk, the chicks that we was dealing with, just told on everybody. We don't know if we next. You know what I'm saying? So we ended up going back to the spot later on. You know, we went back to the spot. And later on that night, my brother, he ended up riding out with some chick. Remember I told y'all he had a chick that was like in Dunwoody or something like that. He ended up riding out with her for the night. And, you know, I stayed at the spot and kicked it. Remember I told y'all the police ended up being at my birthday party. This is the week of, when all of this stuff is going down, the week that we was on the run, because we was only on the run for a week, was the week of my birthday. So I ended up throwing a birthday party, bro. That next day, right? And guess who didn't show up? Vontae and Big Boy. They did not show up. We threw a big party too, right? It was so big, bro. And I still don't know how this happened. You know, it could have been my mistake, but I feel like my mama invited all these chicks, bro. I had about 3 or 4 girls that I talked to at that time, and they all ended up being at the same party, bro. Straight up. It was a wild party though. Don't get me wrong. Like it was dope. Like everybody came out, but it was like, bro, we stayed in a townhome. I got two girls that I talked to downstairs, a girl I talked to upstairs, another girl I talked to outside. You feel me? And I'm like, wow, these folk don't even just know about each other. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to give everybody attention at one time and without pretty much getting caught or without them trying to fight each other or anything like that. Man, it ended up going bad. You feel me? A couple of them found out about each other. One of them left the party crying and stuff like that, but it was what it was. I had too much other stuff on my mind, but I kind of contributed that to the feeling that I had, you know, because the next day my brother, he pulled up, and even Vontae and Big Boy, they pulled up. I don't know what they pulled up for. I guess they knew that them not pulling up for my birthday was kind of weird, so they pulled up the next day just to holler at me, just to see what's up, speak, and they left. It was real short. You feel me? And it was early in the morning. They ended up leaving. So when they left, my brother ended up pulling up. He pulled up with two chicks that we just so happened to be talking to at that time. Also, they had their mama car, and my brother like, hey, bruh, we need to go to church, fool. These girls is trying to take this. This was a Sunday. He like, these girls want to go to church, and I think I'm going to go with them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what this energy is, but I think we need to get saved or something. I'm like, nah, fool, I'm not going to church. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think church is the answer. I don't think that's what's going to save us, So he ended up going to church anyway. And, he went to church, came back. I probably had invited another chick over or something like that and kicked it with her or whatever. But I'm not really leaving the house too much at this time. He ended up coming back, and the feeling was just still there, The feeling, I remember he came back the night after, right? Because we had a conversation about church, and it was just like, yeah, I don't think church gonna save us or anything like that. Like, I don't think it's not gonna happen, So maybe like the next day or two, we're in the we downstairs in the townhouse, and he's sitting there telling me like, listen, bro, this car keep parking outside the house. I don't know why. I don't know where they stay. I don't know where they coming from. I don't know what's going on. It's the same car. I don't know if they just moved in here, but they tents is too dark to be somebody regular. He like, bro, we need to leave. We gotta go. I'm like, bro, where is we gonna go? He like, bro, let's just go to the trap and let's just go hide out, bro. Let's just go hide out. It is what it is. Mind you, we got warrants out for our arrest. We don't even know it. These folks just building a case on us, bro. We don't even know. So he telling me like, hey, we just need to go to the trap. And I'm like, bro, I'm not going to the trap, bro. If something, this is exactly what I'm telling him. I'm like, bro, if something is happening, bro, I just want to face it. I don't want to run from it. Whether it be the police, whether it be death, whether it be whatever. I just want to face it, bro. We gonna be running forever if we run now. Straight up. And he respected what I had to say, and we kicked it. We kicked it, bro. The next day, I woke up, and my sister, she had an African boyfriend at the time, right? And remember, y'all, I told y'all we robbed the plug, so we didn't have no plug at the time, right? We was still running around here looking for a plug, and going getting low. At this point, we having a little bit of tree and more money than we got tree. You get what I'm saying? So my sister's boyfriend, he just so happened to be an African, and he had business in a lot of different realms. Like he had a little paper. You feel me? I remember that morning he pulled up on my sister to come pick my sister up. He knocked on my door, and I don't know where my brother was. I think my brother had went to the store or something real quick. He knocked on my door, and he gave me like $1,500. He said, hey, if you can turn this $1,500 into $3,000, I'm gonna put you on with the plug, with the exotic plug. You feel me? Cause at that point in time, we just had regular tree. You know what I'm saying? Like it was like just a bunch of popcorn. If y'all know what popcorn is, then y'all know what I'm talking about. It was some good tree, but it was just regular. You know, this was before exotic was even a thing. You know, like exotic just became a thing 5, 6, maybe 10 years ago at the most. You know, so he trying to put me on with an exotic plug. So I'm like, all right, bet, say no more. That was a great way to start my day. You know what I mean? It made my energy feel. It made me feel a little bit better, but it still my energy wasn't right. Right? I had the 1,500 to give him back because he just wanted to see me flip that 1,500, give him his 1,500 back, and then because he wasn't putting no interest on it or anything like that. He just wanted to see, I guess, if I was really hustling like that, you know, because he had heard about me. You know, we was making noise. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give him this same 1,500 back tomorrow with like $100, $200 on top. You know, just let him know, like, yeah, I ain't tripping, fool. You know what I'm saying? Go ahead and give me that, cause we need the plug. You know, at this point, we need any plug you got. You feel me? Especially if you talking about an exotic plug and he got it for a good number. I had planned on giving him that back the next day, but before then, remember I told y'all this morning time. That's the way I started my morning. Like he came in the morning, gave me that little money. I'm like, all right, bet. I put it up. Hour or two later, I'm like, bruh, I can't shake this feeling. You know, like good stuff is happening around me, but I'm having an even worse feeling, you know, because it's just something on me. So I decided to go. McDonald's was having a job fair, right? I don't know how I heard about this, so I decided to go to McDonald's, man. McDonald's off Keller Road. I ended up going to McDonald's to go get a job because I'm trying to change my life, bro. I'm trying to change my life. I'm trying to change this energy, you know. Not even necessarily change my life. I just want whatever this feeling is to go away, you know. So I'm trying to knock out certain things that I feel like will get my karma straight, you know, because I just couldn't pinpoint how to fix it. I couldn't pinpoint what was about to happen to me. I just felt heavy, bro. I just felt it on me, bro. Like it's a real thing when they say demons is on you or whatever the case. Like this was a real thing. I go to McDonald's and this where it all fall down. If y'all remember, I told y'all this where I ended up linking up with Young, my brother partner from Stone Mountain, because he was up there. He just so happened to be up there from his hood. There was a whole bunch of people. He was a friendly face, so I'm like, hey, just kick it with me for the day. I ended up bringing him back to the spot. We working on my Buick. I ended up chopping it up with the neighbor when I pulled in because he like, hey, nice car. What's up with it? I'm telling him like, yeah, it just stalled out at certain points. So he like, oh, okay, let's go to the auto zone and I'll teach you how to do a tune-up. So I'm like, all right, bet. Mind you, remember I told y'all this Charger was sitting in front of his house now, my neighbor. So I don't even know if my neighbor was in on it. You feel me? Like, because remember I told y'all, I parked my car, I waited on my neighbor, and I went to as I'm walking to his house to see if he's ready. I see the Charger parked in front of his house. That's when I peeked inside of the Charger and noticed folks ducking down, right? Then I'm like, oh, damn, I didn't know somebody was in here. Let me back up off this car before folk think I'm trying to steal their car or whatever like that. I ended up knocking on my neighbor door. Surprisingly, he was ready to go when I knocked on the door. He coming outside. He get in his car. I'm following me and Young, the guy that was riding with me. I ended up following him to AutoZone on Keller Road, and that's when we get whooped by 10, 15 police cars right in front of the Red Lobster on Keller Road, fool. Straight up. We didn't even know we was on the run. The whole time we just so happened to be on like the most wanted list in the cab, bro. Because this guy was, you know, like I told y'all, he almost croaked a couple times. He got shot in his lower back, and as soon as he came to, he just went to telling on everybody. You feel me? Telling on me, telling on my backdoor chick, telling on everybody he seen, bro. Straight up. And we got whooped, fool. We got whooped, and that's when the story all loops around to when my best friend sent me to jail for the unthinkable. This so happened, this guy that I was riding with just so happened to be the same person that robbed my house. Not necessarily robbed, but stole from my house after I got locked up. When I got locked up that day, he ended up circling back because his cousin, which I didn't know, just so happened to be my best friend Vontae, the skinny best friend. So they ended up looping back and taking all of my stash, taking all of my clothes, taking all of my money, taking everything that I had, bro, while I was locked up, fool. And that was life on the run, bro. I was only on the run for about a week. You know what I'm saying? But only because I didn't know I was on the run. If I would have known I was on the run, I definitely would have had a better run. You know what I mean? But hey man, that's the story for the day. But listen, I'm thinking about starting up a whole nother part series the day I start trapping. Now this is after I done did my time. Now y'all gotta watch part 7 of My Best Friend Sent Me to Jail for the Unthinkable. Because that's gonna wrap up that little series, and then I can get to the series of where I finally get out of jail and I really start trapping. I done did my time and I'm really trapping now. You get what I'm saying? Like, I took it worldwide, food on everything. You know what I'm saying? I took it worldwide, cuz. So drop trap in the comments, man, if y'all want that series. And hey man, I appreciate everybody who been locked in with this one. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned for my best friend sent me to jail for the Unthinkable Part 7. And hey, we pipe, man. Drop trap in the comments, man, if y'all want that next series. And hey man, y'all make sure y'all like, share, subscribe. It was a pleasure kicking it with y'all. You feel me? But until next time, man. 100.